The sound of her voice broke something inside me. "It's impossible for me to cancel dinner with my ex-husband for you." She said it so casually, like it was a reasonable thing to say to the man you share a bed with. I remember standing in the kitchen, one hand on the counter, the other clutching the back of a chair to keep myself from saying something I'd regret. The kettle whistled behind me, shrill and mocking, but neither of us moved to stop it. "Impossible," I repeated, trying to understand if I'd heard her right. "You can't cancel a dinner with your ex for your husband?" Sarah sighed like I was a child who just didn't get it. "Daniel, it's not what you think. We've been friends for years. He just wants to catch up, talk about life. It's harmless." Harmless. The word hit me harder than any confession could have. I forced a small laugh, one of those nervous, trembling ones that don't sound human. "You realize how that sounds, right?" She crossed her arms, looking irritated instead of guilty. "You're overreacting. You always do this. Just because I had a past doesn't mean I'm not allowed to speak to someone from it." Her tone wasn't defensive, it was defiant. And for the first time since we got married, I saw something in her eyes I hadn't seen before. Detachment. Like I didn't matter. That night, she left the house wearing the same perfume she used on our first anniversary. The irony made me sick. "Don't wait up," she said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. The door closed. The sound echoed through the apartment, cold and final. I stood there for a long time, staring at the wood grain of the door, my mind a battlefield of reason and fear. I wanted to believe her. I needed to believe her. Sarah wasn't the type to cheat. She was composed, smart, independent, the kind of woman who built walls around her emotions. But people like that, they don't build walls for nothing. By 10:30 p.m. I was pacing. I told myself not to check her location, but I did anyway. Her phone was at La Bella Vita, a dimly lit Italian restaurant near the river. A place we used to go when we were still learning each other, when laughter came easy and silences didn't hurt. At 11:45, Herda was still there. Midnight it went dark. She came home around 1:20 a.m. I was sitting on the couch, pretending to be half asleep. Her heels clicked softly against the wooden floor, and she smelled faintly of wine and something unfamiliar. Cologne, maybe. "Hey," she whispered, surprised to see me awake. "How was dinner?" I asked quietly. She froze for a second, then smiled too quickly. "Fine. Just talked about work, life, you know. It was nice catching up." He nodded. "You look happy." "Should I not be?" she said, laughing lightly. "No," I said. "You should be." She leaned down, kissed my forehead, and went to the shower. I listened to the water running, the faint humming of a tune she used to sing when she was in love with me. But that night the tune sounded off-key. The next few weeks were torture wrapped in routine. She started dressing differently. Subtler makeup, softer colors. She started texting more, smiling at her phone. When I asked, she said it was work stuff. When I pressed, she got defensive. "Daniel, you're suffocating me," she snapped one evening. "I can't live under suspicion all the time." Suspicion. She said it like it was something I'd chosen. That night I couldn't sleep. I sat in the living room, the clock ticking louder than usual. The light from her phone lit up our bedroom through the crack in the door. She was texting someone. I could hear her quiet laughter, the kind I hadn't heard in months. And then she whispered a name. Ethan. Her ex-husband. The next morning I decided to let it play out. I didn't confront her. I wanted the truth, not another lie. So I waited. I watched. Friday evening, she told me she was meeting a friend from work. But she left in that same white dress, the one she wore the night we got engaged. Followed her. I wish I hadn't. From the car parked across the street, I watched her walk into a candlelit restaurant. Ethan was already there. Tall, confident, smiling that smug smile I remembered from the few times I'd met him. They hugged. Not politely. Not awkwardly. But like two people who remembered the warmth of each other's bodies. I sat there for over an hour, watching them laugh, their hands brushing over the table. Once she leaned across, touching his wrist lightly. He smiled, and she didn't pull back. I wanted to storm in, demand an explanation. But instead I just sat there because sometimes silence hurts more than confrontation. When she came home later that night, she found me in the kitchen, staring at the table where we used to eat breakfast together. "How was your work dinner?" I asked without looking up. "Fine," she said quickly. "We talked about a new project." "Why?" I turned my phone toward her. On the screen, a photo, Sarah and Ethan, laughing across that candlelit table. Her face drained of color. "Daniel, it's not what you think." "Then tell me what it is." "He needed closure," she said, her voice trembling now. "He's been struggling since his remarriage ended. I was just being there for him." I stared at her, amazed by how easily she could shape words into excuses. "And you had to hold his hand for that?" She bit her lip, eyes glistening. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I swear." I stood up slowly, the chair scraping the floor like a thunderclap between us. "You didn't just hurt me, Sarah. You killed something I thought would never die." Her tears came then, real, heavy, desperate. "It wasn't love, Daniel. It was confusion. I thought I was helping him, but maybe I was trying to remember who I used to be before you." That line hit harder than any confession could have. Before me. As if I was the mistake she'd been trying to correct. For days we barely spoke. She slept on the couch. I avoided the living room. Our home turned into a graveyard of unsaid things. One night, I walked into the kitchen and found her sitting at the table, crying quietly. "I ended it," she whispered when she saw me. "With Ethan. I told him we can't talk anymore." I didn't respond. I just leaned against the counter, staring at the ring on her finger. "I know I broke your trust," she continued. "But I want to fix this. If you'll let me." I took a deep breath, trying to feel something, anger, love, pity, but all I felt was emptiness. "You can't fix something that doesn't want to be fixed," I said softly. "Trust isn't a wall you rebuild. It's glass. Once it cracks, it never looks the same." She stood up, walked over, and gently took my hand. Her touch was warm, familiar, but it didn't reach me. "Then what do you want me to do?" she whispered. "Nothing," I said. "Just be honest with yourself. Who do you really want to be with?" Her eyes filled again, and she turned away, unable to answer. That silence told me everything. A week later she moved out. No screaming, no scene. Just quiet packing, folded clothes, and soft goodbyes. When she closed the door, I felt both relief and devastation. Months passed. People asked what happened, and I told them we grew apart. It was easier than explaining how betrayal doesn't always come with lipstick on collars or hotel receipts. Sometimes it's in the small things. The dinners. Laughs. The refusal to choose you. Sometimes betrayal sounds like, "It's impossible for me to cancel dinner with my ex-husband for you." And sometimes, that's all it takes to know the love you thought was unbreakable was already gone. Ending line. Love doesn't always die in arguments or infidelity. It dies in the quiet moments when one person stops choosing the other. And that night, when she chose dinner with him over honesty with me, our marriage didn't end. It simply stopped existing.